you for coming to our talk on the ACL 2020 paper, Hooks in the Headline, Learning to Generate Headlines with Controlled Styles. This is a work led by Dijing Jing at MIT, Zijing Jing from AWS, Zhou Yitian Zhou from A-Star, Lisa Ori from Wellesley, and Peter Solovis from MIT. We presented this work at ACL 2020, and I am Zijing Jing. So a standard task for NLP is called summarization. Given an article, can you generate a good title for that? As we can see that for a normal summarization model, it will compile all the facts and generate titles such as a multitasking framework for blah, blah, blah. We compare this to the famous figure Java in Les Miserables. And in our paper, we try to think critically about this. Can we generate more attractive ones, such as our paper's title, Hooks in the Headline, Learning, blah, blah, blah. We would compare such a model, i.e. TitleStylist in our paper, to the famous figure Winston Churchill, who is distinctive with his use of language. To give more motivation on this, in the current era of information explosion, we can see too many mediocre titles. Plan titles flood, people bored. A more serious consequence for that is it's so easy to forget. As we know, the critical use of title is to help a person index this article better when he's trying to memorize it later. But being easy to forget will make the title just lost forever. So in this paper, we propose that good titles not only summarize, but also impress. We collect a few attractive titles and note that the study of good titles is called headlineese, which is very important in journalism writing. So we can see that almost the most famous one, Stick, Snick, Hick, Picks, sounds good and fits the content. Very memorizable. We can also see recent titles such as Once Near Death, Now Closer to God, to describe a priest stabbed but later recovers in body and mind. There are also titles such as Nature's Four-Letter Words, Wind, Hail, Rain, to describe a violent storm. What's your impression after reading these titles? They impress. So the research question we tackle with our work is, can model generate attractive titles? And a more advanced requirement for the model is, instead of collecting titles with styles, can it learn styles without supervision? There is a wide range of application for our study, including catchier titles for readers, less effort for writers, easier to spread and be memorized, thus broadening the impact of articles. To give a more historical overview, as we say that intelligent NLP system needs such stylistic summarization, what have current NLP system developed? So we introduce two lines of research in NLP. The first line is on summarization from the more traditional rule-based methods to neural network methods. The second line we introduce is text generation from rule-based to more advanced ones such as text style transfer. Our work stands at the intersection of the two lines of research and merge them into summarization with controlled styles. This is a new task proposed in our paper. To tackle such a challenging task, we do it in a step-by-step way. Our work last year presented at EMNLP is on text style transfer, where we transfer the style of all the text, no matter title or article or whatever, from one style to another. Whereas in this work, we especially look at summarization with styles presented at this ACL. After we introduce the motivation, now let's get into the method. Problem formulation. We will introduce how the model is trained and how well it's inferenced at test time. When it is trained, it has two types of information. First, plain title-article pairs. Second, we have a style corpus. Note that for each article, there is no alignment with something with a style, including a stylistic description of the title or stylistic of the article or a stylistic title. None of these alignments are provided. At inference time, we will give the model an article and ask it to generate title with style. Let's see how we tackle it. We use a multitask learning framework. Let me introduce the two tasks we use. The first task is summarization, where the input is an article and output is a title with a plain summarization. The second task is denoised autoencoding, where the input is a noisy text from the style corpus, and we aim to reconstruct the original text from the noisy version. So there are three different ways to train it. First, independent learning, where we have individual encoders and generators for the first task and the second task. Whereas the second option can be, we just share all the parameters, and we call it pure multitask baseline. We will reference it in our experiment section later. So for this baseline, all the parameters of the encoder and the two generators are shared. And in our work, we propose the third approach to privatize style-specific layers. For this model, TitleStylist, we share all the parameters of encoders and some parameters of generators. As we can see on the right, for the transformer architecture that our model use, we share all the gray layers and make the colored, like blue and yellow layers, style specific. There are two types. The first type, as we highlighted here, is a layer normalization, where generator 1 and generator 2 has their own parameters on this. The second is query transformation, where also the two generators have separate attention weights. After introducing the methods, we will get into our experiments. For the data sets, we have two types of data sets. The first is 90K article and title pairs compiled from New York Times and CNN News. And for the style corpus, you can use three different styles and put one into the training process of our model. The three choices are humorous, romantic, and clickbaity. We will analyze the experiment results from three aspects. The first aspect is within a style. The question we look into is, how do you like the headlines generated by different parties? By parties, we mean different sources, including Best HG, which is a best headline generation model proposed by Song et al. 2019. And the second source is Pure Multitask, which shares all the parameters of generator 1 and generator 2, as we mentioned in our method section. Our model, TitleStylist, and the human written baselines. Note that there are three options of style. So in this graph, in this figure, we analyze the performance on clickbaity style corpus. You can check out the other styles in our paper. We rate how attractive a title is on a 1 to 10 scale. As we can see that the best HG system is the least attractive. Pure multitask is the second least. And you can see that the clickbaity titles generated by our TitleStylist score the highest of all, even exceeding the human level performance. The second aspect that we will analyze is across styles. For example, we have 5 different styles at hand. The first is the plain style generated by the best HG. The second is human written style. The third is TitleStylist trained on humorous corpus, or fourth and fifth are romance and clickbait styles. So as we can see from the examples on the left, the TitleStylist output, such as the Berlin Wall 12 years later is still there, the Berlin Wall from past to present, or the best rated one, East versus West, Berlin Wall lives on. These are actually quite amazing when we look into these examples. So for a more quantitative study, we ask humans to rate their preference on all the 5 possible styles. And we found that the performance of humor and clickbait is on par with human level performance. The third aspect we will introduce of our model is the style strengths of it. So here we compare the style strengths of three systems: Best HG, Pure Multitask, and TitleStylist. The human annotators are asked to choose their favorite out of the out of the headlines generated by 3 models separately. So we found that the TitleStylist gets 46% of the favorite votes, outperforming all the other models by a large margin. Let's come to the takeaways of our paper. If you are a researcher, we strongly recommend you to try out this new task, summarization with controlled styles. If you want to use our model, you can get into the GitHub get into our GitHub. The link is provided in our paper. You can feed an article to the TitleStylist model, and you will get a catchy title. Or alternatively, you can train it with your own style corpus. For example, a data set of puns that you like. and the title stylist will learn from that style automatically. For the resources, the link to this slide and everything is available on my homepage. And here I am also offering a volunteer mentorship. So I have experience with more than 10 papers, and I really welcome people who need help. For example, underprivileged people or those who are eager to learn how to publish NLP papers, for example, for your grad school application. So enthusiastic undergrad, master, or PhD can contact me at my email. Hope you enjoy this work and have fun in NLP.